Hey everyone, and happy Friday. We have made it to Friday, made it through another week of this pandemic, and it's Friday. The beaches are reopened. The retail stores in Alabama are allowed to reopen today with some restrictions along with the beaches. Now, this started yesterday at 5 p.m. If you were around on the internet then, our own Chris Harress went down to Orange Beach and gave us a look at the coast, gave us a look at the beach, and gave us the scene of that reopening, the countdown and the kids running out. It was really cool to see if you didn't see it. But we have got Chris back down at Orange Beach today, and he is going to show us, are people following the rules down there? Are they going out or are they staying home? So, Chris, thank you so much for going back down to the beach. I know it's a really hard gig, but we appreciate it and we appreciate you. So, I know you just pulled up, you just parked, and you told me that the parking lot was packed.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect, honestly. Oh, there's a crying child. Sorry.
That's all right.
I didn't know what to expect. I genuinely thought that it would not really be busy for 11 on a Friday.
Right.
But it's absolutely packed down here. Yesterday, I'd say there was when it reopened at 5 o'clock, there was probably half the amount of cars. And when I got down on the beach, it felt kind of busy. It wasn't too bad. So I'm going to, but what I'd like to show you right now is the parking lot since, oh, wonder if I can flip that. There we go. So let's see. Hopefully that you
there
can
we
all
go.
see that.
Yep, we can see it.
So you can see the parking lot, and it's kind of this busy. There's basically 4 rows, one here on the beach side, and then towards the road and the bay, there's another 3 lines, and there's cars still coming in.
Wow.
And you can see there in the distance the flag fluttering. So it's a windy day, but yeah, people are here, and I don't know who they are. They might be off work right now, furloughed, or as you said earlier, maybe they're working from the beach at 11 o'clock.
The parking lot is looks kind of insane. So, and like you said, there were cars still driving in when you were showing us the parking lot. So, if that's any indication, it looks like it's going to be a busy beach day. Now, while you're walking down the boardwalk there to get to the sand, let me ask you, I know some states that have reopened their beaches have had restrictions on you can't put down towels, you can't put up umbrellas and things like that to encourage people to not congregate. Is there any restrictions like that here in Alabama or on Orange Beach?
Just based on my own observations, those restrictions are not in place. Everybody's laying out, and yesterday there was lots of people in the water. Lifeguards weren't saying anything. There was law enforcement there. They weren't saying anything. So if there are more details in the state's order to reopen the beaches, I'm not aware of them.
Going to pull you and give you the full screen here so people can see what you're seeing. And if I can, let's see. Just so people can see that. And I know we've got, you can hear a little bit of the wind here, but you can see people have put up tents, or not maybe tents, but they put up umbrellas. You can see down close to the shoreline, there's a bunch of umbrellas, like you said, of people hanging out down there. Yeah,
I'll definitely tell you this. It looks like people are in groups, families, and stuff like that. And it looks like everybody's, staying apart. Like I don't see anybody grouped together. But that's the thing, though. I mean, I come to the beach fairly regularly in the summer and in the spring, and people typically stay away from each other anyway. Because why would you saddle up to another family? You want your own space on the beach. So I think a lot of this is just what people have always done. I know that in California they had to close the beach again because people were getting too close. I don't know if that's going to be the same issue here. We'll definitely find out on Saturday, but I'll give you another look. You can see down here, it's a little bit more up top. This is the public beach, called Bayou, but some of these condos, I'm not totally sure if they're renting right now, but those are some of the areas that can get built up further down the beach. I'm not sure how far you can see down there, but it always looks busier when you're looking at a side-on view. So right, and that was something
you and I and some of our colleagues at AL.com talked about earlier was that depending on the angle you're at, it can be misleading of seeing the people and maybe making them look closer together than they are. But it looks like when you're walking to the beach right now, we're seeing you walking to the coastline, or to the waterline rather. It does seem like people are staying apart from each other, which is very encouraging. And people do seem to be hanging out just in their own little groups, their family or their friends that they came with. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of mingling. Like if you go to an Alabama beach in the summer, you know that those chairs are often really close together. It doesn't look like that's happening here.
No.
So that's really interesting. And that's something to keep in mind that we talked about. When you look down like you are right now, it might look like they're a little bit closer together. But when you're getting that front-on view, they do look a little bit further apart.
Yeah, people are definitely respecting the rules for sure. And like I just showed you these side-on views. It looks really busy, but it's actually not. It's not what you think. So that's encouraging. And as I said, we'll find out more on Saturday. But the people I spoke to yesterday, they were genuinely delighted to be getting back on the beach. Let me see if I can just show you these. There you go. They were genuinely delighted about getting back on the beach. And I spoke to a resident here, and she said, I really hope that people stick to the rules because she loves coming to the beach. She walks here. This is her exercise. She doesn't want people kind of ruining that for the people here. So we'll see how it goes. But it's a beautiful day. The water's cold.
I appreciate yesterday. If you didn't tune in, I'm going to move my face off here so y'all can see the beautiful water. But if you didn't tune in yesterday, Chris really humored me during his live video and tried the water for me. On his video, he said it was cold, so I will not make him do that again here. I'll take your word for it.
I'm already doing it, so don't worry about it.
Well, it looks like there's people actually out in waist-deep water and not, they seem to be enjoying it with inner tubes and everything.
Yeah, they're loving it. Yeah, people are having a great time by the looks of it, and so am I. But yeah, I went along to Fort Morgan yesterday just to see what was going on there, and there wasn't anyone in the water, and I was like, weird, because everybody was in the water here, and it was because there was like an 8-foot shark just going around. So
that could be why.
Yeah, that was part of it for sure.
That could definitely be why. I'm getting a lot of comments of people, I think, kind of surprised, like you and I were, that people do seem to be staying apart. And I think that maybe people know that if they don't stay apart, we might not have this privilege. So that is a good thing to keep in mind. Now, what do you know about I know that the governor said that rule will be enforced. What do you know about the plans to enforce the 6-foot social distancing?
Well, I was told that there would be a lifeguard here to kind of remind people, and also there would be law enforcement kind of going up and down the beach. But there's too much beach for them to police. I remember when they first closed the beaches, they along at Fort Morgan, which is a more secluded beach, mostly private homes out there. A friend of mine that lives there said that that there isn't anybody coming here to check because they don't have enough people. They don't have enough law enforcement officers to kind of go along. And I mean, these beaches are miles and miles long, and there's thousands of people here. You can't really police it. And I think so. Those are the measures. But I think people are smart about this because think about it. You got what you wanted. The beaches are reopened. Okay, Why jeopardize that? Why jeopardize your own health? Even if you don't believe in any of this, if you're one of those people that doesn't really think this is a thing, why not just stay 6 feet from people? It's super easy. You're just going to be sitting on your chair anyway and going into the water. So I don't think it'll be a huge problem. I don't know what happened in Orange Beach in California, but I'd like to think that people here might just try and avoid that. That might have been a warning for people,
Absolutely. Now, something that I think is interesting because you and I had talked about it before. Now, before the beaches closed, maybe a day or so before, you were down at another area of the beaches and you were showing us a lot of spring breakers that were not following social distancing rules, things like that. Now, that is, was that Perdido Pass? Is that correct?
Yes. I can't quite remember the name of the public beach, but it's the Perdido Pass Bridge. It's kind of under there. Everybody jumps in the water. It's like a hangout spot if you want to have a really, really good time. And it's usually full of high school kids and some spring breakers. and that has not reopened because they said the beach was too narrow to ensure people would, social distance properly. So
yes, that we've got some people talking about that in the comments, and so Chris is not there because it has not reopened, and some people are saying that that's a hangout spot, which Chris definitely agrees with, and from what he saw around spring break, and that's why that area has not reopened. Now, I know we have a couple people talking about that. Another person's asking kind of what you and I, Chris, talked about at the beginning of this video, saying, are they allowed to sit and hang out on the beach, or can they only exercise, fish, things like that? But from what you said, we're not aware of any restrictions regarding the sitting on the beach.
Yeah, no, I mean, just look around us. Everybody's just sitting down, working on their tan, getting that vitamin D. So yeah, nothing that I'm aware of. And also, I don't know if you saw when I was coming in, there are signs up there that the only warning that they had was you just have to make sure you socially distance. I say socially, make sure you're practicing social distancing.
Mm-hmm.
But there's nothing else. Like, there was no other rules or anything like that. So I think, yeah, I mean, whatever the rule is, people are just laying out. Yeah.
Right, getting that tan. I hope they've got sunscreen on. There was a comment earlier that I believe from Johnny, and he said that he just wanted to go for the seafood. Johnny, I'm with you. I agree. I 100% am volunteering to take Chris's place right now. So, Chris, if you don't mind, give us another shot back at the beach, and so we can see, because for some of the people just joining, how it does seem like people are staying in their own groups and keeping their distance. Yeah.
Well, since I'm on the way up on the beach, I'll show you it from that side view again. That everybody kind of they're like, wow, everybody's like so grouped together. So that's looking down the beach in that direction, and here's another look on this other direction. And then what I'll do is I'll go to the back so you can all see. So this is me heading back towards the parking lot, and then I'll turn round and you can take a look for yourself.
Right, and while you're taking that walk, I know walking in the sand is hard if you've got you getting your exercise in today, but I did see that a question came in from one of our colleagues saying, do you see anybody wearing masks? I don't, watching your video, but what do you see?
Yesterday I didn't see one person wearing a mask, and I don't see anyone wearing a mask today. I was talking to people yesterday, so I was taking my mask on and off just to make sure I could get audio. I don't have it. I have it in the car. I forgot to bring it out, but I'm not talking to anyone. I'm not going near anybody, so that's why. And it might be the case that people feel the same way. So they're in their groups. It looks like most people are out with their kids. They're with each other all the time. That's one of the things that you're allowed to do. You can hang out with your own family, and people are sticking to that by the looks of things. So maybe they feel like they don't need a mask. That might be one reason, but there is certainly nobody with a mask on right now.
There's a lot of people that are talking about saying, yeah, the crowd size looks manageable now, things look good now, but what is going to happen when the tourists start to flock to the area? Do you get the sense that these are locals?
Yes, I do get that sense, and I think that's in a large part because I don't think...
I think we lost Chris for a second here. I know he was having some issues with the wind. So while we work to get him back, I will just kind of recap some of the things that he told us in that video. He is at the Cotton Bayou Public Beach, which is in Orange Beach. If you did not catch this video until now, you might want to go back and look. Some of the crowds that were on that beach did look like it was a manageable crowd size. The people on the beach seemed to be congregating in their separate little groups, or rather not congregating, I guess I should say, and staying with their parties. There did not look to be groups in any large size there. Chris was walking us around the beach a little bit and giving us that sense. Now, something to keep in mind, too, if you look at some of those shots when Chris looks down the beach, there are some shots that maybe look like people are closer together, and that's just the depth perception there. But when he was looking from the back towards the water and vice versa, there definitely did seem to be some space in between each group of people. Now, some of our commenters are saying, that, you know, that, yeah, sure, this looks manageable now, but things could change when tourists come. This could change at the weekend. And you're absolutely right. We don't know what is going to happen this weekend, next week, regarding the beaches. But we are hoping that Chris will check out the beach for us again tomorrow, and that we will have some other Mobile reporters checking it out throughout the week next week. I certainly will volunteer as tribute if we need somebody to go down there. It looks beautiful. I do know that Chris said the weather was, or the water rather, was cold. I had to dare him to go in yesterday, and he did. We do have some people talking about the condos and the rentals in our comments, and those are still closed. So that's what's going to be interesting to see about tourists coming or visitors coming to the beaches, because they might not be able to easily find a place to stay. Keep in mind, restaurants are still closed. We had some commenters talking about seafood. I'm with you, but we're going to have to pick up that seafood at curbside or to go right now because dine-in is not quite allowed. So again, beaches are open as of yesterday at 5 p.m. They are open today, and authorities ask that you keep social distance from other groups there, and that you do not have a group of more than 10 people or any size that cannot maintain a distance. So if you want to check out the beaches, those are the rules regarding beaches. Also today, the retail shops are open in Alabama. So that means that these shops can operate with some restrictions, including occupancy restrictions, but they are allowed to be open. So if you have any other questions about that, check out AL.com, and you can watch this video back to see what the beaches looked like with our own Chris Harress. And you can also check out his video from yesterday, where he was also at Orange Beach, and let us see the countdown of when the gates reopened for people to hit that sand. So thank you so much for watching today, this Friday edition of Lunch Break Live with me, Ivana, and we will see you on Monday.